The HomTom HT17 was the first Chinese phone to boast the all-new MT6737 processor by MediaTek, which finally brings 64-bit processing into the low-cost arena. Unfortunately, the handset doesn't really benefit from that, but got victim of this new processor instead. In case you wonder why, keep watching. So the first impression always is a phone's packaging, and this one does look surprisingly nice here, considering the price tag of only 75 bucks. The design does look quite professional, and you get quite some accessories with the phone. The phone's design does remind us a bit about Chinese phones of the good old days, meaning the years 2012/2013. The phone's edges feature quite a huge radii, and the upper and lower sides are slightly curved. The body is entirely made from plastic, but still is pretty tough and doesn't bend easily. The design is enhanced by some dot patterns around the phone's sides. The hardware buttons sit in place tightly. The back cover can be removed, which makes it easy to access the replaceable battery. Also, there are 3 dedicated slots for 2 SIM cards and 1 microSD card, which you can all use at the very same time, which comes handy due to the small 8GB memory. One highlight we can spot on the phone's front is the Rgb Status LED, which you usually don't find on a low-cost phone, and even if you do, only a single color one. A thing we dislike is that the manufacturer claims the phone to be 8.5mm in thickness, while in reality it measures in at 10.5mm including the camera module. The 5.5-inch screen operates at 720p resolution, but it is a very cheap LCD panel. Pixels are visible, which results in a staircase effect on fonts, especially larger ones. Furthermore, the screen isn't laminated with the touch panel, resulting in a large gap between the components, which causes reflections outdoors. Combined with the relatively low brightness, outdoor readability isn't good at all. The touch panel is based on a 5-point digitizer and works pretty well and accurate. Even fast typing isn't a problem. A downside is the surface, which feels kinda sticky. Also, the glass ain't scratch proof on this one. Hardware is where the real critics start. As mentioned before, the HomTom HT17 boasts the all-new MediaTek MT6737 SoC, which is a 64-bit quad-core processor with a CPU clock of up to 1.3 GHz, limited to 1 GHz in case of the HT17. The GPU is a Mali T721. Now, judging by the specs alone, you would believe that the MT6737 performance is a whole lot better than on the MT6580, which has been the standard in the low-cost arena for the past 12 months. Well, if you think so, you sadly are wrong. The performance of the chipset is absolutely unacceptable. The system lags, apps lag, and even low-end games are often unplayable, and you can't even do a bit of multitasking since every app will close right away in the background. The reason for this is insufficient RAM. The HomTom HT17 comes with 1GB of RAM, which already is full after booting the phone, and exactly that's what causes the bad performance. So obviously there is some issue with the chipset software base and the RAM management, because MT6580 phones with 1GB RAM run just fine. Hopefully there will be some updates which address those issues in the future, since in the current state the phone simply is unusable. Moving on, we come to the sensors, and here again we don't find anything impressive. There's a light proximity and acceleration sensor and nothing more. There's one highlight though, a fingerprint scanner at the back of the phone, and it does work surprisingly well for a 75 bucks phone. We really didn't have any issues with it, except that it isn't the fastest one. The HomTom HT17 runs Android 6.0 with the security patch of May, which means it is almost up to date. The system has been modified with a new launcher and new icons, and there are lots of extra features such as hot nod, support for mirrorcast, off and on screen gestures, and a turbo download mode which combines Wi-Fi and LTE connections for faster download rates. All this makes the bad performance of the phone even more disappointing, since it looks like they really put some effort into the software. Ota updates are supported as well, and so far we got 2 updates. On the connectivity side of things, we find 2G, 3G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and even LTE, which is something totally new in the low-cost arena. LTE is supported natively by the MT6737 processor, and also the FDD-LTE band 20 is supported. During our tests we have been satisfied with the phone's signal strength, and it looks like they really did well with the antenna. Something that is very disappointing though is the GPS, since it does not work properly. It often happens that we cannot get a fix and need to reboot the phone to get one. But even then, signal strength isn't too good. Trees are enough to kill the fix, and putting the phone in the pocket, the fix is lost as well. So GPS really isn't usable on the HomTom HT17. Regarding the audio quality, the HomTom HT17 does a fairly good job with headphones, but sounds a bit too bass heavy. The meter speaker isn't good, it sounds flat and lacks volume, and telephony quality was okay for the price tag. A very positive surprise was the 8-megapixel camera. So far, low-cost phones have never been able to impress us in the camera department, but the HomTom HT17 actually sports quite a capable camera. It is no flagship camera for sure, but it does create decent pictures at daylight. It's just low light it cannot handle, and videos are only recorded in 480p. The front camera isn't too good and thus not really useful for selfies. Another positive part is the battery life. We measured 8 hours of screen on time using Geekbench 3 at 40% screen brightness, which is a very decent result. In real life use we reached comparable screen on values, so it's easy to get through 1 or even more days with one charge. To fully charge the 3000 mAh battery, the phone needs 3 hours using the original power supply and 2 hours if using a 2 amps power supply. So here are our final thoughts. The HomTom HT17 could have been a great low-cost device, but it gets killed by the MT6737's performance. The software base needs to be completely overhauled in order to make devices with 1GB RAM run smoothly, or manufacturers need to put more RAM. Until any of these did happen, the HomTom HT17 is not suitable for real-life use. And that really is a pity, considering that it ain't bad at all apart from the bad performance. So that's all from our side. If there are any questions left, please drop a comment. More information and the link to the shop can be found in the video description. If you like what we are doing here at CMM, please support us with a visit at chinamobilemag.de or our English site chinadevices.net and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, bye bye, over and out.